It's been quite a while since I posted a video, but I was just hanging out in my little art studio and I thought it was about time that I do an updated how I edit my Instagram photos video, because a lot of my techniques have changed. I don't really use the programs I used to anymore, and I'm still asked all the time how I edit my Instagram photos to kind of get that like white / dreamy kind of feel. But first, I just wanted to thank you all, because I just realized that I am at nearly 40,000 subscribers, and that's kind of crazy to me because I mean I don't put out videos that often. I actually have been filming, but I have not uploaded because I'm filming for my watercolor course that I will be launching hopefully before Christmas. So if you want to be notified of when I actually launch that, you'll be one of the first to join. The link, I'll put it right here. It's thewonderforce.com/watercolors. So jumping right in, I'm going to be using Snapseed to edit everything. Last time I was using ViscoCam, and I honestly don't really use that anymore. I've been able to do everything that I need to do in Snapseed. It's a free program made by Google, and they're always adding new features. So definitely go and download that, and then I will show you how I do it. Okay, so I've opened up the photo that I've just taken in Snapseed. So you can see it here. It's a little bit darker than I would like. I want to bump up the whites and just make things brighter overall. So the first thing I'm going to do is tap on the actual photo, and you're going to see this little edit button right here. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to go to Tune Image. It's the first option. And Snapseed is cool because it has all of these different features. You can't see them at first, but once you tap on your image and slide your finger up or down, you're going to get all of these different options. You have brightness, contrast, saturation, ambience, highlights, shadows, and warmth. So to start, I'm going to do brightness. I always start with brightness. Now to increase or decrease the brightness, all you're going to do is slide your finger to the left or the right. I'm just going to slide it up to the right, and it's going to increase the brightness for me. Then I'm going to go into contrast. I'm going to bump down the contrast just a little bit. Next, I go down to saturation, and I desaturate things a little bit because my feed is it's more on the desaturated side than the bright sort of colors. Ambience, I usually just like to play with this to see what looks better. I'm just going to bump it up a little bit. It kind of gives it a little bit of that washed out feel. Highlights, I'll do that because I have a white background. What it's going to do is just bump up that white background a little bit more. Shadows, I always like to bump those up as well. Pretty much I'm just turning everything up. And warmth, I usually don't touch that. So once you've finished, click on the little check mark at the bottom, and I'll take you back to your photo. And then again, you can click on the edit button here, and then I'm going to go to brush. And with brush, you're going to get these different options along the bottom. You have dodge and burn, which is lightening and darkening areas, exposure, temperature, and saturation. So what I always do is go to exposure. And you'll see at the bottom there's the amount of exposure. You can either have less exposure or more. So it starts you off at plus 0.7. So I'm just going to use that. And with my finger, I'm just going to go over the entire image. And if you want to see where you have done this, just click on the little eye icon, and it'll show in red where you've actually brushed already. So I'm just going to paint the entire thing. This is just going to bring up the exposure and make the whites a little more white. Turn off that eyeball. Now, I want to keep the background nice and bright, but I don't want my actual objects in my picture to be so washed out. So what I'm going to do is zoom in, and once you zoom in, you're going to get this little area here that you can move the image around a little bit. And zooming in is going to make your brush tip smaller. So that's why I like to zoom in. I don't always have to, but for smaller, thinner objects like this, I'm going to need to. So what I'm going to do is bump down the exposure by 1, and it's going to go to 0.3, and then I'm going to go over some of these objects slightly. You can reposition things with this little box slider. I'm just going to add back in some of the areas that are a little bit too light. And you can do this however much you want. Double tapping is just going to bring you back to your photo. So I think I like this for now. So I'm just going to click the check mark to save it. And then I'm going to go into details. And again, if you move your finger up or down on the photo, you're going to have structure or sharpening. I'm going to do both. So I start with structure. I'm just going to bump that up a little bit. I don't like to do too much because it kind of gives it more of that HDR look, and I don't really like that look for my photos, but you might. And then sharpening, just bump that up a little bit as well. Again, you don't want to go overboard with these because it tends to look a little too much sometimes. And I'll just save that. If you still feel like things aren't white enough for your liking, you can go back in, go back to your brush, do the exposure thing one more time, even if you want to start with 0.3 and then just go over the white areas once again. You can also do that. I'm going to just leave mine. Also, if you need to erase some of the exposure that you've done, you can see the pink line here that I've just done. Go down again and it's going to say eraser. So what that means is that you can just erase anything that you've done. So I'm just going to X out of that because I don't need that. Crop, I usually do crop if I haven't taken a square photo. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory. Text, you can actually add text in this app, which is a new feature that they've recently added, which is so helpful because I like to add a little @WonderForest type sometimes beneath my photos, and I don't have to switch apps to do that, which is really, really nice. So once I'm done in here, click the back button, I'm going to go to save. And for my save options, I always click export. Creates a copy with permanent changes. So we're just going to save that. It's going to apply all the changes that you've made to your photo, and I'm going to open it in Instagram. So while I'm in Instagram, I've opened my photo. Sometimes if things aren't as white or as bright as I like them, they do have a filter here that's actually pretty good, layered on top of what I've already done. It is the Juno filter, so I'm just going to select that, and it's kind of going to make the background less gray and more white. So I really like that. You can actually adjust the amount of filter that you want to apply just by clicking on the filter and then sort of moving the slider. I might just do maybe halfway for that. And then done, and then I'm pretty much done. So there you go. I hope that you guys enjoyed that tutorial. I would love to see any photos that you edit using my little technique. Tag me on Instagram @WonderForest and follow along on Snapchat if you want to see sort of behind the scenes type things @WonderForest for both. So I hope to see you guys there, and thank you again so much.